afternoon, students. Welcome to today's class. How are you today?
Good.
Good. Okay. Does anybody remember today's topic? We had to read a book. Do you remember the name of the book? Call of the Wild. Yes, very good. Before we start discussing the book, I'm going to give you a little bit of context so you can understand better. This book was written by Jack London and first published in 1903. It's set in Yukon, Canada, during the 1890s Klondike Gold Rush. During this time, thousands of hopeful miners headed north in order to find gold and become wealthy. Now, the trip was very arduous, very harsh, and very cold. Miners had to walk a lot of the path, and they would either use pack of animals or dogs or sleds to carry the thousands of pounds of supplies. This is where our protagonist comes to play, a beautiful, strong house dog called Buck. You will not believe it, but Buck has actually come here today to join us to share his experiences with us. Buck has agreed to recreate most of his experiences through the book. Now, the book, remember, is called The Call of the Wild. The nature is cruel and has no mercy. But as you are still 15 years old, we could not include any violent scenes, so do not expect that, okay? We have to keep it PG rated. Let's watch the video. Buck is a beautiful dog and he lives in the sun-kissed state of California, a state owned by Judge Miller. Buck is completely beloved by Judge Miller, his children, and his grandchildren, and he runs the place completely. Unaware to Buck, Manuel, the gardener, has some plans for him. Manuel has some troubles gambling and he has lately been having problems to keep his family. So one day, when nobody's watching, he ties a rope to Buck's neck and sells him to a stranger. This is a life-changing experience for Buck. Everything he knew, everything he took for granted was gone, and he learns his first lesson into the wild. He learns that humans are not always his friends, but actually can hurt him. This leads for him to learn the law of the club and the fan. He knew that he stood no chance against a man with a club, so he had to obey. Buck is used as a working dog, and little by little he leaves behind all of his values as a house dog. He learns how to steal, he joins a pack of dogs, and it's actually quite natural for him as something ancient from really old times waking up inside him is calling him. close relationship. Buck experiences love for the first time, and he's completely loyal to Thornton. Tragically, Northland dies. He's killed by Indians. Buck mourns Thornton's death. Nonetheless, all his instinct that has all this calling of the wild that has been growing and growing inside of him, it makes it stronger, especially when he breaks all of his ties with civilization. Finally, he accepts the call of the wild, he runs into the wild and becomes a legend.
When I walk beside her, I am the better man. When I look to leave her, I always stagger.
Okay. I would like to thank Buck, who is here with us today, first for agreeing to recreate his experiences. He went through a lot, but he's fine now, fortunately. Now, students, the surprises are not over. We have another special guest. You would never guess, but Mr. London himself has agreed to Skype with us for the class. Even though he lives in a completely part of the world, we can call him through Skype, right? So let's call him, all right? Mr. London, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well, and I can see you as well. Yes.
Good, okay. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you so much. My students are watching. Let's remember that we are broadcasting this interview through YouTube Live, so my students at home can watch it, and you can all re-watch it later for the test. Also, we are using the hashtag AskMrLondon in all our social media, so you can ask questions to Mr. London, and I will try to read them later on. Okay, so use your phones. Mr. London, back to you.
Yes.
Thank you for being here. Before discussing the book, could you tell us about your life a bit and your experience that made you become a writer?
First of all, good afternoon to all the students who are watching me right now, and thanks for the invitation. I'm elated to be here and share my experience writing this book, this story. Well, my name is Jack London. I'm a writer, a professional writer. I was born in 1876 in San Francisco. I was part of a working class family. I took the last name of my stepfather because I always lived just with my mother. I really had a tough life when I was a teen. I worked in trains, shoveling coal, and many other activities. Nonetheless, I did the best to educate myself. I went to library to seek books and novels to read. And thanks to that, I had the chance to take a 4-year high school course into 1 year. And then I entered the University of California. But I quit because of the Klondike gold rush. I went there to search for gold, but I came back after 1 year. And I think, that experience, from that experience, I got the metaphorical touch for my stories.
So, Mr. London, it was the gold rush that provided you with the experience, as you said, to write this book. Could you tell us about the plot, but in your own words?
To summarize the book, The Call of the Wild, it deals with the life of a dog called Buck, who undergoes a series of situations that shape the way he behaves. And all these situations eventually transform this dog in a wild creature.
Now, Mr. London, we know that the main character is a dog, he's Buck,
Yes.
but you portray him as a dog with an ability to complex thinking, to feel all these different sorts of emotions that we usually associate to humans. So, is it really just about the dog as an animal, or are you trying to convey a different meaning?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is just not the illustration of a dog, a civilized dog that goes from civilized to an animal capable of coping with any adverse circumstance. It also deals with the idea of, I'm not sure if you have heard about it, survival of the fittest.
Survival of the fittest, that definitely rings a bell for me. I hope that it rings a bell for my students too of the science class, right? Mr. London, how's this related to Darwin's theory of evolution?
Well, for those who have read the book, there is a crucial stage in Buck's life where he is kidnapped and he must abandon any moral consideration, and civility is no longer around and he must start relying on his instincts. And there's a fierce competition for scarce resources, and in order to survive there, the strongest survives, not the others.
I have to admit, at sometimes it was kind of hard to read because Buck's experiences are very cruel and nature has no mercy with him. But Buck is not alone. In this process, he meets other dogs and has different owners. Do they have a meaning or do they help shape in a certain way Buck's transformation at the end?
That is an excellent question, and I must answer that there is abstraction of many ideas from the moment he is kidnapped till the end when he become a wild creature. For instance, there is a crucial stage of Buck's life that is known as the law of the clap and the fang, when first of all, he is beaten savagely by a man with a club and he stood no chance against this man. And he quickly realizes that in this new world, you must start relying on your instincts and your physical ability to survive. Then, after that, the first experience, or the second experience he has with this wild world is when he witnesses another sled dog who approaches a wolf-like dog, big dog, in a friendly way, but this dog attacks this friendly dog, and he literally destroyed that dog because it's the way it is in this new world, the wild. In a few words, if you are down, you die. The wild has no mercy on you.
So, survival of the fittest,
yes.
Right? Mr. London, gotta tell you, we are trending topic right now on Twitter thanks to you, and I'm going to read some questions of my students.
Okay.
One of the most repetitive one is they are wondering about the meanings of the owners of Buck, especially the unexperienced owner, those owners that were very cruel and very selfish and very vain as well. One of my students, he thinks that this shows the civilized part of the world, as all of their vanity and their material goods prove useless in the wild. What can you say about this?
I would like to know the name of your student.
Chandler.
Chandler.
Yes.
Okay, Chandler. Let me tell you that you got it. Charles, Hall, and Mercedes are those owners represent civility and the civilized world, and they are so stupid on the things they do. And there's no much to say about them. You got it. But anyway, I would like to tell the other students who don't know that the civilized world tolerates and even smiles to such absurdity and stupidity, but the wild world does not have mercy on any of those characters, and for that reason they die.
Correct. Congratulations, Chandler, you got it right, so you're building your way to an A. Another very repetitive topic is that my students have Googled your name and they found that it was linked to this concept, to this philosophy, naturalism. They're wondering if you could explain to them in your own words what this means for you.
Yes, for sure I can explain in my own words and make it simple for everyone. Okay, students, I am a naturalist writer, and as a naturalist writer I use the idea of the environment and how it shapes the people, how it shapes human beings, and the environment is stronger than us. And there are key ideas that must be included in a naturalist narrative, for example heredity and survival. And if you have read my book, those topics are present in the Buck's transformation and are crucial for his life.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. London. I hope that was clear for you. Because of time, we have to finish this interview. But remember that you can watch it later, so don't panic about that. Mr. London, thank you again for joining in for your time. And this has proven to be very educational for us.
Yeah, thanks to you for the invitation. And before we end this conversation, I would like to tell you that I'm planning to write another book that is similar. It's a transformation of a dog. So buy this book, read it, The Call of the Wild, and in the future you will read another amazing story based on my experience.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. London. Okay, students, I know that was very interesting. I hope that you have enjoyed it. Thank you for those who participated from home, even though you're not here. So I appreciate that. Now, we have talked about the plot of the book, and we have had an analysis from Mr. London himself, right? But now, let's move on to a more literary approach to the book. Let's talk about the words that are used, about the language. First of all, Mr. London himself, you remember, he said that Buck represented not only a dog, but actually had this complex thinking, these complex emotions. How do you call this situation when you have a dog, an animal, a thing with all these emotions? Can you remember the name of that? Alvaro, please.
Miss, as far as I remember from your previous literature course, when we give animals human traits, it deals with personification.
Personification, excellent, very good. Now, we also encounter different language used by Mr. London. When he talks about California, the first house of Buck, he uses language such as sun-kissed, pleased, pleasant, comfortable. But on the other hand, when he talks about the wild, he uses concepts as the wild has no mercy, it's very cruel, the survival of the fittest, right? So the concepts are very different. What's the name, if you can remember, when a writer uses all these words to portray a picture of what he's trying to convey? Alvaro, again, please.
Well, I have been reading the book, and when you read the book with all those adjectives and the description, it's being teleported to the situation. You can actually see when Buck is fighting with spirits, or when he's being hidden, or he's the leader of the pack. But I think that's imaginary, because you're teleported, you can see the picture right there in front of you.
Right, imagery, okay? He's painting a picture, as you said, using words. Now, finally, I would like to talk about symbolism in the book, and I'm going to give you the example, okay? If you remember on the video, it was mentioned that Buck felt he had these visions of the wild, these ancient instincts that were actually growing stronger and bigger inside of him. He actually sees a vision of this man through the flames, this caveman that he feels he somehow knows from a past time. These visions become stronger and more repetitive as long as he moves through the wild in the book, right? What do you think it symbolizes for Buck? Yes?
Miss, I have that idea. It's intriguing and confusing at the same time, because when you all of a sudden he starts mentioning an old man through flames,
Right.
and I googled that in order to find what is that. Then I found that it is through the reappearance of certain characteristics of a remote ancestor that have been absent for a long time, but now they are reappearing. And I think for that reason, this book is called The Call of the Wild, because this primeval beast is reappearing on Buck's life.
Okay, perfect. I don't think that I could have explained that better. So thank you so much, Alvaro, for your opinions. Now, students, I know that it has been a lot of information, okay? It has been very intense, but we are going to recap a little bit, okay? First, based on the presentation, can you share with us some events in chronological order? I'm going to give you a few seconds to discuss, and then we're going to share, alright? So you can take your notes, take a look at your notes, that's it. Alright, so Ingrid, you have been a bit quiet today, and remember that you will be graded on your class participation. So, can you tell us what's the first event in Buck's life that you remember?
I don't remember the first one, but I do remember the second one.
Okay.
He was sold.
He was kidnapped, he was stolen, very good. But he was stolen from where? what was his life before he was kidnapped?
Well, he had a family.
Exactly. Okay, so he had this comfortable life and he's kidnapped, right? What happens after that?
He's rescued from the person who kept it.
Right. What happens before, in the middle of that? How? Alvaro, can you help her?
Yeah, when he's kidnapped, and then it's a transformation because he had everything. Yeah, and then he's used for as a sled dog. He has to work, and he learns to steal. Do you remember Survival of the Fittest?
Yeah, it's kind of like he had to get adapted to the situation he was going through.
Exactly, very good. And then, as you said, his final owner is this man that rescued him, John Thornton. How was his relationship with Buck?
Well, I think that it was amazing that both of them loved each other.
Exactly. And what happens with Thornton? Can you remember?
Guys.
He dies. How does he die?
He's killed by the
Indians, right?
yeah.
And finally, what happens with Buck? What happens with Buck after Thornton dies?
Well, he learns to finally live the way he wants, I guess.
He accepts the call of the
Yeah,
wild.
it's more like the way he wants, but it's the way he's called, because that's the name of the book, The Call of the Wild. He's being called. I'm here. This is your world.
Yeah.
It's where you have to be.
Okay.
His purpose.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
his purpose. Very good English. Now that we have remembered the events of the book, let's have a little bit of discussion. First, as a reader, how does it make you feel to read a book, the story of an animal?
Well, in my case, reading any, not just this one, but of any animal, it's hard. It touches my heart. It's heartbreaking because in this case, reading about an animal that is suffering, and it's not crying, but I can see that the animal is suffering. It's heartbreaking for me.
Well, it also depends on the person who's reading, because if you love animals, it's obviously going to be heartbreaking, as he says. But on the other hand, if you have someone who doesn't care about animals, it's not going to feel anything.
Yes. Do you think your approach to the book had been different if the protagonist, the main character, was a human? For example, it was a man who leaves his family to go find gold. Maybe it wouldn't have been so compassionate about the main character, as we suffer through Buck's experiences, right? Okay, second question. Is revenge a sense of justice innate in animals?
I don't think so. Like, they don't take revenge on anything. They just live, and they also learn to forgive, actually. Because if you hurt them, they are also willing to forgive you through time, just like humans.
Okay, do you think... yes?
Yeah, as I see justice is a concept coined by humans, so we try to make dogs behave like humans. And for that reason, sometimes we associate, or we try to build justice in the human world. Somehow.
Okay, good. Final question. Mr. Landon, he addresses the theory of survival of the fittest, right? We talked about Darwin's theory of evolution. How would you live your life, or how do you think we live our life based on this theory? Or do you think we actually put it into practice, or you think it doesn't have anything to do with your lives?
Well, I think it's quite connected to our human life, because you need to have a lot of skills just to survive in the world. Like, if you're not good at something, and if you're not good at something else either, it's kind of difficult for you to survive.
So you have to adapt.
Yeah, and you also need a lot of skills. So if you don't have them, nobody's gonna be willing to help you.
That's true.
And actually, I'm just thinking right now with what Ingrid is telling us. When you, let's say we're studying and we have certain skills, or we're skillful at something, we're going to be the strongest there, stronger than any other. So in that sense, we're going to survive just because of our skills. Yeah.
Yeah, because to
I
some
agree.
extent, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
To some extent, we are helped by our parents, but only like till you are able to live by yourself. I mean, you have their help, and they're always gonna be willing to help you, but you have to do it on your own as well.
Exactly.
Yeah, and somehow if you're going to work, you're going to take someone's position because you're doing it better. So you're going to earn more money because you're doing things better than others do it. Yeah, it's the way in
So you're
society.
taking the position of the leader of the pack, right? Just as Buck did.
Yeah, I'm trying to put the example of society, but in terms of survival of the fittest, in terms of nature, I think we cannot live there. Yeah, well, no
Okay.
way.
Okay, thank you so much, students, and that has been all for today. Remember to study and that you can watch the presentation later on. Okay? So, thank you so much.
You too.
Buck, slide. Alvaro, I would like you to explain a little bit more the law of the club and the fang. What's that? Ingrid, do you understand the law?
No.
Yeah, first of all, the clap, it's a stick
Like
that you use to hit someone in this case. And in the book, it is the first time that Bach encounters violence, and the man that it's described as a man in the red scarf. There is no name for that man. So I think he's not even considered human because he doesn't have a name on the story. Yeah, even the kidnapper has a name. Has a name, and the other slave owners. And that's crucial because as he encounters violence is vital in Bach's life in the future. If you know how to survive with all this violence, you will live in that world. And apart from that, it's the beginning of this new world. So it's with the love, the clap, and the fang, the door is open to this new world full of violence. Yeah.
Barbara, would you like to compliment?
Wait, I would like
I'm
to,
sorry.
Yeah, I would like to add something more.
Mm-hmm.
You could refer to it as the law of the clap and the fang, or kill or be killed, or survival of the fittest. I would define the term with those words.
Yeah. Well, I think I've done a pretty good job defining it, but the law of the club and the fang, it's actually a key experience or the first lesson that Buck learns in order to survive in this world. So he learns, as Alvaro said, that violence is a part of this new world, and in order to survive, he either had to obey to the club because he had no chance against a club, or used violence, his fangs, to defend himself.
Right. Excellent. The other questions that I had for you, Barbara, is could you mention two key moments in this evolution, in this transformation of Bach from being a family dog, right, with the judge, and then who becomes after?
I think the first key experience is when he encounters himself with this man with the club, because his first reaction in the book was to fight the man, to attack him. He actually wanted to kill him, but he realizes that he can't do anything about it. So that's when he learns that when he stands in certain situations that he has no chance, he just has to obey. But he also, on the other hand, when he can, he has to defend himself, right? So that's the first one, when he's introduced into the world of the wild, and the other one I would say is his relationship with Spitz, that in the video is shown as when he was fighting with this other dog. So he realizes that he has natural skills to be a leader, and he starts he starts his transformation to be more powerful, and he realizes that he actually has the will and the abilities to power.
Who spits?
It was
It's-
the first leader of the pack.
Yes, in the video we showed that he was fighting with a yellow dog. I don't know if you remember. So Spitz, it was the leader of the pack when he arrives to this pack. But Buck quickly realizes that he hates Spitz, and he actually has more skills to leader the pack, and he actually ends up doing a better job than Spitz at the end.
Right. Ingrid, if you have any questions, just go ahead. All right. I'm going to keep shooting, but if you want to, I want to take one of the questions that Barbara showed, right, which is the revenge and justice. So, Alvaro, revenge / justice / protection. What happens when a Buck kills who does he kill?
He kills.
A lot of people.
He kills
Indians, right? So why does he kill those Indians? Why did he?
Yeah, at Ingrid, in the last chapter, Thorfinn goes to look for a mine, and it's the final stage of Buck's transformation, and he keeps going to the wild to look for adventure, and he leads them for 3 days, for some days, and then when he comes back, he notices that his owner, Thorfinn, was killed by Indians. And the first thing he does, he doesn't even think what to do. He goes and kills all the Indians. And based on that question, it's, as we were discussing, I don't know whether I should consider it revenge or justice, because they killed someone he loved. But in this case, I'm trying to think like an animal would just be revenge, because they did someone, they hurt her feelings, in the Buck's feelings. And then, as a revenge, he went and killed all the Indians. But it's complicated because it's revenge or justice.
Well, from my point of view, actually, from the book's point of view, attributing to Buck all of these human-like emotions, I think is revenge, because he loved Thornton. Thornton was actually the first human being and the only human being with whom he develops this relationship of love, right? So it is revenge, but from the point of view of the real wild world, it's not revenge. Only if I had to put a name on it, I would say it's protection, but I do not think, and I know that animals are not able to feel that sense of revenge. Yeah.
Yeah, for me it's complicated to define what an animal is thinking, because I base it on my beliefs. That would be justice, because I'm human, so I give human traits to everything.
Yeah, that's fair. But me just being an animal lover and with my little babies, I know that animals, and I'm going to talk about dogs because that's what I have studied. My brother is a vet, so we talked about dogs practically all day. So I know that dogs, if they do something that we determine it as bad, for example, they kill someone when they got into fights with other dogs, it's not because they are looking for revenge or because they got upset at the moment. It's just because their animal instinct tells them that they have to protect themselves, and that's it. A dog is not going to hold a grudge against other dog. No, they just associate negative experiences with other dogs, and then they will develop or not develop a relationship or friendship with that dog.
Right. My final question, Andra. Is there any connection you can make between, because this is naturalistic work, right? Naturalism is present all over the book. Could naturalism be connected with capitalism somehow? Yeah, sure.
Can I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
both of you can answer the question, right?
Well, I think the first connection that you can make is that in the book, the value of work, it's very, very crucial. That's why Buck ascends, let's say, in to become a very important dog, and that's what you have to do in capitalism. And you also, in the real world, in society, in a capitalist society, you just have to either kill or be killed. It's the same, that you have to look you have to look after, your own things, your own family. That's how the world works lately, and it's the same. I just portrayed it in the book.
Right.
Well, as I see it on certain stages of what Buck did, when he was working and toiling, he enjoyed that. There was joy on every time he was pulling the sled, and that's, from my point of view, is linked to capitalism, because when you're working, supposedly you enjoy what you're doing. And there is a moment in his life when when there's one dog who's about to die, and he keeps trying to pull the sled, but he cannot because it's dying. And according to my point of view, that represents capitalism, because that dog, even though he's dying, he enjoys the work. And in terms of naturalism, how we link both, as naturalism states that the environment shapes the way you behave, in both cases, capitalism or the society, the rules of society shape the way you behave, or you act in that environment.
I'd like to add that Buck, at the end of the book, he just lives by himself. He finds his own food. If he has to kill to feed himself, he just does it. But first, when he lives in a pack, or when he's a sled dog, he has to work with other animals. And actually, in the book, it says that Buck really enjoys this work, and the other dogs also enjoy it as well. And I think that more than capitalism, only this part of the book, when he's working with a team, let's say, you can associate it more to socialism rather than capitalism, because they are working as a group. And one of the main principles of socialism is that they all do their fair share in order to achieve certain objective, and that's exactly what they were doing.
Right.
In the sled, only on the sled, because Buck then lives on his own.
Right. All right. Thank you. Well, I was just wondering, where is the true happiness if the Buck, who is with the judge, with Thornton, or Buck who is in the wild, where is the dog truly happy?
Well, that's a complicated question, especially when you have dogs. You never want to accept that they would be happier without you, right? But sometimes we do not provide them with what they need, and that's what happened with him and the judge. That he was very loved, but his instinct, his primal instincts were not fulfilled, right? He didn't exercise, he didn't hunt, and those are natural instincts in dogs.
Right.
Yeah, but based on the book, the happiest moment of his life.
It's Thornton.
No, I think with it starts with Thornton, but when the tides cut with the civilized world.
When he runs.
When he runs away and lives in the wild, because that's why the book is called The Call of the Wild, because that's the destiny. He must be free and live with the animals and be the leader of any pack.
Right. Thank you so much. Good job.